Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Good day and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. So good to be back with you after a couple of weeks of a break due to travel. Please say hello in the comments if you are here with me live or if you're watching the replay. I love to know that you are here. I'm Liz Forrest. I'm a Master Shamanic teacher of over 25 years, sharing Toltec practices and tools of personal freedom in classes and workshops and journeys to the home of the Toltecs in Teotihuacan, Mexico. And my next journey is coming up in just a few weeks, 3 weeks, end of October, over the Day of the Dead time. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, contact me. I'll put my email in the comments after we close. I and my partner had a Toltec Center in British Columbia, Canada for more than a decade where we taught, and as well we brought other spiritual teachers for retreats to create community with like-spirited folks just like you who are seeking their own personal freedom from their past. So a few Tuesdays ago, we began reviewing, or maybe learning for the first time, if that's you, the first of the 4 agreements, which is described as a code of conduct based in Toltec teachings that purport to improve one's life. And that book, of course, was written by Don Miguel Ruiz. Don Miguel Ruiz, almost 30 years ago now. Yeah. So let's review the first 2 of these 4 agreements. And if you don't know the book, this is the book, the 4 agreements. So let's review the first 2 of the 4 agreements. So the first agreement is, and I'll ask those of you that are with me, if you remember what the first agreement is, you could put that in the comments. And I'm going to read that from the book. This is direct from Don Miguel's writings. So the first agreement is, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So that's the first agreement. The second agreement, if you know that one, you could put it in the comments. Second agreement, don't take anything personally. And the teaching, short teaching of don't take anything personally, is nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So that's the second agreement. So today I would like to talk about the third agreement. Okay, and I want to say here that these agreements build on each other. So first agreement, being impeccable with your word, and then not taking things personally. And now the third agreement is, do not make assumptions. Do not make assumptions. So this teaching from Don Miguel and the 4 agreements is, find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Okay, so let's have a closer look at this agreement. What is an assumption anyway? The definition of an assumption is taken for granted. Taken for granted. So we can, and we do, make assumptions about others based on so many things. Based on how they dress, the color of their skin, or what heritage we assume they are, what religion they practice, what they do for a living, where or how they live, on and on and on and on. We can make so many assumptions about the people we meet, the situations that we're in, the experiences that we're having. Yeah, we can make so many assumptions. And the problem with making assumptions is that we believe wholeheartedly that our assumptions are the truth. We make assumptions about what others are thinking, what they're doing, and we convince ourselves that our assumptions are absolutely true. So let's think about that for a minute. Yeah, making assumptions based on what? Based on what? We're going to talk about that. And then believing our assumptions are true. And then we believe them so much that then we tell our friends and our family maybe all about our assumptions, speak them as truth. Then our friends and family believe them to be true as well. And we create a whole big drama and sometimes a whole big mess based on our assumptions, which are not the truth at all. Not the truth at all. We've created a whole story with our assumptions. Yeah, it can really sound kind of crazy, can it? So how does this happen? Why is it so easy to assume things about other people? Well, there's a wonderful quote, and I apologize, I don't know whose quote this is. If you do, put it in the comments, because it is a powerful teaching, and I appreciate it so often. And the quote is, "We don't see people as they are, we see people as we are." We don't see people as they are. We see people as we are. Okay, so if we're holding unhealed wounds of abandonment or betrayal or not belonging, and those are just a few examples, and I'm sure you can think of your own. If we're holding unhealed wounds, we are basing our perceptions of others on these distortions. Our perceptions are projecting these parts of our past, our story, onto other people. Which in a conscious moment, you begin to realize that your assumptions are all about you, not about the person you're making assumptions about. Yeah, it's a projection of unhealed places in ourselves, and we assume things about other people. And that can lead us to judgments of other people, all kinds of things. And remember, our assumptions are not true. Okay, when I read you the third agreement, it's about communication. It's about asking questions. It's about getting clear about what the truth is. Not making assumptions, because assumptions are based on untruths and taking situations for granted based on our own unhealed parts of ourselves. Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? And a question I get asked a lot is, how can you tell the difference between assuming and intuiting? Yeah, how do you tell the difference between assuming and intuiting? So, as we've already learned in our few minutes together today about the third agreement, assuming is taking a situation for granted. It's not asking the questions for clarity, but relying on our own beliefs with all their distortions, all their programming, all the stories that we have in our past. Intuition, on the other hand, is perception independent of any reasoning process. I'll say that again. It's very important. Intuition is perception independent of any reasoning process. It's quick. There's no story attached to it. Intuition is direct. I hear a term these days, more presently, where people say they downloaded something. They downloaded information. They downloaded something around what their next step is, or clarity about something. So intuition It's direct and quick, and there's no story attached to it. And in the Toltec tradition, this is called silent knowledge. Silent knowledge. This is the access to all our knowing. I'm not talking about book learning. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about direct access to our knowing, which we all hold. Yeah, silent knowledge. So I encourage you to explore for yourself the next time you pass someone on the street. Let's just make it simple. You pass someone on the street, what does your mind do with the visual of the person you just saw? Do you create a story about them? Or do you simply acknowledge their presence as you walk by? Yeah, check it out. Create a story based on how they dress, how they look, etc., etc. Or you simply acknowledge their presence and you just walk on by. And here's another really great exercise that's very insightful. How often do you make an assumption that someone close to you knows what you want without you even telling them what you want? Without communicating what you want? Instead, feeling like they should know what I want without me telling them because they know me so well, or they love me so much. They should know what I want. And if they don't know, we take it personally and we get all upset because we assume they should know what we're thinking and what we want. That happens a lot with people who are close to us. Yeah? Okay. So I encourage you to try out these couple of exercises for yourself to explore how much you assume about people or situations. So how often do you create a story about someone that you pass on the street? And also, how often do you take personally that someone close to you doesn't know what you want without you telling them? And if you'd like to share any of your insights in the comments, I would love to hear and share also with each other. That's how we learn the best, is sharing with each other. So thank you for being here in Transformation Tuesday with me. I will see you next week, and we're going to talk about the fourth agreement of Don Miguel Ruiz's book that has now been translated into something like over 40 languages and has been around for almost 30 years. Yeah, we'll talk about the fourth agreement next week. So enjoy your day. I send you all my love, and I'll see you soon.